Okay, boys and girls, now we're going to prepare to read our story, Dear Dragon. And first, the first thing that I want us to notice, and this is always very, very important, is I want us to notice the genre study. What type of story is this? Boys and girls, this is a fantasy. Everybody say fantasy.
Fantasy.
So fantasies are imaginative stories with characters and events that cannot be real. This story cannot be real. This is a fantasy story. So, and in this story we have letters. Letters are written messages from one person to another. We also in this story have poetry. Poetry uses the sounds and rhythms of words to show images and express feelings. So these are some of the things we're going to be talking about in this story. So fantasies often include events that do not follow the laws of nature and time. So this story is totally make-believe. It cannot happen. Nothing in the story cannot happen in real life. It is a fantasy. And here we're going to talk about how letters begin with a greeting and end with a closing, and poems use descriptive language and often rhyme. We've talked about poems. Remember, we just talked about poems. So now here. So to set a purpose, think about the title and genres of this text. What do you think makes this story a fantasy? Why do you think this story includes letters? How might it include poetry? Write your ideas below. What do you think? So first off, what do you think makes this story a fantasy? What makes this story a fantasy? What's making it a fantasy? What's making it a fantasy? Juliana?
None of this can come true.
Yes, but think of the title, what's making it a fantasy? Libby?
Dragons aren't real.
Dragons aren't real, and what do you think's going on based on the title? The title's, what is the title? Ethan?
Dear Dragon.
And so what's making it a fantasy? What do you think's making it a fantasy?
Maybe the boy and the dragon might get letters.
They might be what?
They might be sending letters.
Yeah, that could be it. The boy and the dragon are probably writing letters. That might be a fantasy. Olive?
And also, I don't think if dragons were real, I don't think they'd be able to write.
Yes, that could be part of the fantasy. Dragons aren't writing letters to boys. So there we go. We could write that down. And why do you think this story includes letters? Why do you think that? Logan?
Yes, in the title it says dear.
Dear, because it sounds like a letter. Dear Dragon, that's part of the letter writing part. And how might it include poetry? What do you think the poetry part is? Kelsey?
The letters, the letters are going to be poetry.
Maybe the letters are poetry. Very nice. So that's what we're thinking in here. The letters are poetry. So let's get going on our story. I can't wait to read it.
Dear Dragon, written by Josh Funk, illustrated by Rodolfo Montalvo.
Oh, look at look. The dragon, he's got a letter. He's wearing clothes.
Hello, students. Our poetry and pen pal projects this year are combined. Upon your desks, you'll see the pen pals that you've been assigned. Projects. Projects are tasks that take time and effort to complete. Assigned. If someone assigned a task to you, he or she gave you some work to do.
So now I'm looking at the story, and I'm looking at the setting of the story, And does this look like a fantasy to you right now?
No.
Does it look, Yanni, does it look like a fantasy right now? Yes or no? No, how does it look to you? What's the setting of the story right now, Yanni? Where's the story taking place?
In the school.
In a school, in a classroom, right? Does it just look like a regular classroom? Yes, it just looks like a regular classroom.
Please make sure the letters that you write are all in rhyme. Now, open up your envelopes because it's pen pal time.
Oh,
Is there a dragon?
oh, now what are we noticing here? What's going on here? What's going on this page, Ethan?
A teacher dragon is teaching other dragons.
A dragon teacher is teaching other dragons. Wow. What do you think is going to happen between these two classrooms? Teddy, what's going to happen between these two classrooms?
The dragon is the pen pal. The dragons are pen pals for the kids, and the kids are the pen pals for the dragons.
Yeah, they're probably going to be pen pals to each other. Oh, look. That one looks a little, look at the look on that dragon's face. And look at the look on that dragon's face. Look at the looks on their faces.
September 12th. Dear Blaze Dragomir, we haven't met each other, and I don't know what to say. I really don't like writing, but I'll do it anyway. Yesterday, my dad and I designed a giant fort. I like playing catch and soccer. What's your favorite sport? Sincerely, George Slayer.
Okay. Who's reading this letter? Who's reading this letter? Avery.
The dragon.
What's his name?
Blaze Dragomiro.
Yeah.
And also, my mom's birthday is on September 12th.
How funny is that? Who wrote the letter? Who wrote the letter? Clark, who wrote the letter?
George Slater.
Yeah, George Slayer. Interesting.
October 1st. Dear George Slayer, I also don't like writing, but I'll try it, I suppose. A fort is like a castle, right? I love attacking those. My favorite sport is skydiving. I jump near Falcor Peak. Tomorrow is my birthday, but my party is next week. Sincerely, Blaze Dragomir.
Is there something that both boys don't like? What is it that both boys don't like, Olive?
Writing.
Writing. They both don't like writing.
My sister's birthday is on October 1st.
Oh, how funny is that?
October 31st. Dear Blaze Dragomir, you know how to skydive? That's as awesome as it gets. My dog destroyed my fort last night. Do you have any pets? Happy birthday, by the way. I don't have mine till June. I'm trick-or-treating as a knight. We're heading out real soon. George Slayer.
Okay, so interesting. So look at, I can use my senses to picture in my mind the details in the text and see the illustrations. I picture George trick-or-treating. I hear his knight's costume clanging because it looks like it might have metal in it. I hear him yell and his dog growl when the dog grabs his cape. I feel the cool air of autumn. I see George just heading out into the neighborhood with his father close behind to keep him safe. But Blaze is visualizing something very different. He visualizes that George is a fierce dragon knight. So he's visualizing something totally different. So they're visualizing totally different things, aren't they?
November 14th. Dear George Slayer, nights are super scary. I don't like to trick or treat. Brushing teeth is such a pain. I rarely eat a sweet. My pet's a Bengal kitten, and tonight she needs a bath. What's your favorite class in school? I'm really into math. Blaze Dragomir.
So which character is usually on the left-hand page? Who's usually on the left-hand page? Ivy?
So it's normally not the person who's writing the letters, or it's like
And what's the name of the character who's on the left-hand side?
lazy.
Blaze.
And because George is visualizing, like he just has like a little kitten, but Blaze has like a tiger.
Yeah, Blaze has a tiger. Yes, Juliana?
My father's birthday is on November 14th.
Wow. There's a lot of birthdays on. Oops, did I go too far? No, okay.
December 16th. Dear Blaze D, my favorite class is art. I made a mold of my left hand. Next, we'll craft mosaics using pebbles, stones, and sand. Yesterday, I won a prize in this year's science fair. My towering volcano blasted lava everywhere. George S. Mosaics. Mosaics are pictures or patterns made from smaller pieces of glass, stone, or other materials. January 18th. Dear George S. My father's won our local fire-breathing contest twice. He still retains the record, melting 50 cubes of ice. Do you have any hobbies? I enjoy collecting rocks. I keep them in a secret place inside a precious box. Blaze D.
Oh.
Retains. If someone retains something, he or she has something and keeps it. Precious. If something is precious to you, it is important or valuable to you.
So, George, see what George is visualizing when Blaze said his father won a local fire eating contest? So this is what George is thinking, the fire breathing contest. So he's visualizing that. Do you see what he's visualizing? And this is what really has happened with the contest. That's the real fire breathing contest.
Almost 200.
February 22nd. Blaze. Fire breathing? What's your father's job? My folks are teachers. I collect exotic monsters, animals, and creatures. Oh, guess what? I heard the news this morning from Miss Sweet. A pen pal picnic's planned for June. At last we'll get to meet. George.
So look what kind of, so Blaze is thinking that George collects what kind of creatures? Kelsey?
Like monsters and stuff.
Yeah, are they alive? He thinks that he's collecting live creatures. George is really collecting stuffed animals. See, he's collecting stuffed animals.
April 11th. Hi, Blaze. Skydiving and flying lessons? Wow, your parents rock. I'm lucky if my father lets me
Did
bike.
I skip a page?
Yeah. March 15th. That's my dad's birthday. Wow. I don't know his birthday. I don't have his birthday in here.
March 15th. George. Dad's in demolition. He works hard throughout the day. But every night we read a book or pick a game to play. Soon he's gonna take me flying, once it's really spring. It's such a rush to ride the air that flows from wing to wing. Blaze. Demolition. If you work in demolition, your job is to tear down or destroy buildings. April 11th. Hi, Blaze. Skydiving and flying lessons? Wow, your parents rock. I'm lucky if my father lets me bike around the block. Once the school year's over and this project is complete, should we continue writing? 'Cause it could be kind of neat. Your friend, George. May 12th. Hey, George. I'm psyched about the picnic and I can't wait to attend. Who'd have thought this pen pal thing would make me a new friend? Writing more sounds awesome. I was gonna ask you too. I've never liked to write as much as when I write to you. Your friend, Blaze.
I hope you're noticing that the letters do what? What pattern is there? Ivy?
There's like an A, B, A, B.
We have an A, B rhyme. Yes, we do. Well, we have a rhyme scheme anyhow. Oh, look at that. Are they surprised or what?
Yeah, they're confused.
They're confused.
Blaze? George?
Oh, that's funny.
My pen pal is a dragon? My pen pal is a human?
Oh.
Our plan was a success, my friend, or so it would appear. The Poetry and Pen Pal Project. Once again next year?
That was long. That was funny.
That was cute.
There's 51 paragraphs.
Okay, so boys and girls, you will read that tonight for homework. Yes, Juliana. What?
Can I get a book?
Yes. Yes.
Isn't today October 27th? Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, I put the wrong day. Okay, boys and girls, very nice.